Hello, everyone. My name's Hugh Peterson. I am the product manager for standard imaging for our water phantoms, our DoseView 1D and DoseView 3D. Thank you very much for joining me today. I want to kind of give you just a kind of a brief overview on our DoseView software that we have for our 1D and 3D water phantoms. We kind of like to say here, it's your time, be precise. So we want to make things as easy and barrier free as possible for your use of our QA equipment. And I think we've done pretty well with our DoseView software. We're getting very good reviews from the field on it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we can kind of move forward, and I'll kind of give you an overview of the software. So just a little bit of housekeeping today. This is being recorded for future review. Anybody who has registered for this webinar will get a recording link for the software and or for the webinar, I should say, and you can kind of view it again at your leisure, or feel free to share it with colleagues if they were not able to attend. And any questions that come up during the presentation, you are on mute, but we have a dialog box for questions. You can enter that in, and if any questions come up, I'll be happy to address them at the end. Or at the end, I'll also have my email as well as the sales email for Standard Imaging, and you can feel free to email us at any time with any additional questions you might have. But just a quick bit about Standard Imaging. We were incorporated in 1989 with our first product, mainstream product was our HDR 1000 well chamber for brachytherapy. You probably are familiar with that. We are based in Middleton, Wisconsin, and that's just outside of Madison, thus the snow on the ground. It's actually not that bad year round. It's actually pretty nice most of the year, but we do get a fair amount of snow in the winter. But anyway, we're very close to the University of Wisconsin, and we've got very good relationship with not only the university itself, but also the calibration lab at UW for having chambers, electrometers, et cetera, calibrated by an accredited lab. Beyond that, we also are a full design and manufacturing company for a full suite of QA products for radiation therapy, from the water phantoms that you'll see today, as well as different software products, our LinacView QA software, our Adaptivo patient dosimetry software. We've got our PIPS Pro, which is a machine QA for imager QA, as well as cone beam, MV, KV imagers, radiation light field, Winston Lutz test, etc. A whole host of ion chambers with our X-ray and ion chamber line, including the farmer chambers, scanning chambers, small volume chambers. We've got a couple diodes that we offer. We also have our W1 and W2 scintillation detectors for small field also. Line of electrometers, our Max 4000, Max 4000 Plus, Supermax electrometers, etc., and a whole host of different phantoms for different things as well. So we're very much a full offering of QA equipment for your radiation therapy needs. But today I want to kind of go through our DoseView software, and it's a package put together that we have integrated. We had it for our 3D scanning system, and with our version 3.0 that came out earlier this year, I guess late last year, the 3.0 has actually integrated our DoseView 1D and DoseView 3D software, taking some of the powerful components of the 3D software and incorporating capabilities for the 1D as well. So if you're doing your monthlies or your annuals or your commissioning, et cetera, you can use a single package depending on the hardware for our DoseView 3D, DoseView 1D electrometers. But it utilizes a functionality and a web-based layout that most people are very familiar with. It's a as far as the navigation goes, it's very easy to learn, very easy to return to. since you're not using it on a regular basis in the best case scenarios. And it's a single software package now to perform all your water phantom operations. And if I get my PowerPoint to move forward, there we go. But so the integration with existing standard imaging tools, our DoseView 3D Phantom, as I mentioned, our DoseView 1D Water Phantom as well, which comes in two sizes, both with 3-point leveling and easy to use pendants for rough positioning of the detectors. And then we've got along with that for our 1D, you've got our Supermax electrometer incorporated to it, or our Max 4000 and Max 4000 Plus. But as far as our software goes, it's easy to use. It's a web-based software, very familiar navigation through it, left to right, top to bottom. So it's very easy to kind of get the hang of and work with it from pretty much from day one, from the start. We like to say there's no hidden features, and by no hidden features, I mean that basically everything's at your fingertips. You don't have to kind of dig and go through different pages to get to different things. Everything is right there for you. Very intuitive menus and setup for the scan queues, the measurement, and the post scan analysis and post scan processing of the system. Like I said, the fast queue setup for depth scans and profile scans for your 3D for all your energies and all your modalities, including triple F, electrons, photons, etc. You have easy conversion of your depth scans from your ion base to dose, and easy export of PDD tables and TPR tables as well. And then there's also, of course, export to a number of different treatment planning systems, including Eclipse from Varian, Monaco, Pinnacle, Ray Station, and also with the new version coming out, planning on later this year, export to the CyberKnife Accurace Precision treatment planning system for CyberKnife as well. Those are all included. There's not extra charges for those. So you get the ability from day one, single purchase to export to any number of treatment planning systems as well. We have selectable force point at Dmax for those depth measurements. So if you want to select a path that might not necessarily hit a measurement point at Dmax, you can actually select to force a point measurement there, and then the scan will return to its original path. And then within the 1D side, there's also easy single point measurements as well. So you've got not only your full functioning profile analysis, measurement, and analysis for the 3D side, but then you also have your depth component for doing comprehensive depth measurements for not only 3D, but also your 1D. So I'm going to jump into the software now. Bear with me while I switch gears here. So I'm going to be showing you, it's actually a beta version today, because like I said, we're working on our new version 3.1. So apologies if there's any hiccups during the presentation, but should be pretty smooth as far as moving things along. But you can see here we've got the ability to either go into the 1D or the 3D side. And for this purpose, because it kind of covers both, I'll jump into the 3D side. And basically, you see here you have three main tabs, very easy. You have your setup tab, your measure tab, and your analyze tab. I'm going to jump into the setup here, and basically this is where you would set up your clinics, and you can set up your actual Linacs as well. And then with your Linac functionalities, you can put in your different specific energies also with those specific Dmaxes for your different energies. So very easy setup there. Same with detectors. You can add, you have a number of different detectors here. You can see a little library of different detectors from our A18s, our A28s, A26, things like that. It's vendor neutral, so you can put in other manufacturers' chambers or diodes as you see fit or as you have in-house. Also have the ability to do either like I said, our W2 scintillators or our diodes. Easily add those very simply by entering the name and the manufacturer, the model of which model it is, what type it is, whether it's a cylindrical, a parallel plate, a diode, or other in the case of the scintillators. Your inner diameter for dose conversion later on, serial number, etc. I'm gonna hop over scan queues real quick, jump into preferences. This is just kind of a regional thing, depending on where you're at in the world, whether you use periods or commas for your decimal separators, whether you use a month, date, year, or a day, month, year format, things like that. You can adjust those accordingly. Same with your time formats, 24-hour clock or a 12-hour clock, etc. You have the ability there as well. So now jumping back to scan queues, I'll show you just how simple it is to set up scan queues. Basically, you jump into add. You can see here you have different things where things are saying not set. As you move through the process, if I could type today. So for example, demo test set. I can choose my medium if I want to either scan an air or water, my modality if I'm either photons, electrons, or triple F, my field definers, JAWS, MLCs, SRS cones, or if I'm doing electrons, electron cones, and any modifiers I'm using either wedges or cutouts. So you can see now once I enter that in, this is marked as complete. I can go and choose my energies now. For this demo purpose, I just want to do 6 MV. My field sizes, I want to do a 10 by 10 and a 20 by 20 today. And then my scan types, I want to do maybe some cross plane and some depth measurements today for that, just for demo purposes. And you'll see once I select those, a couple things, other things popped up, depths and my CAX offsets. So I can jump into depths here. Say I want to do one at Dmax, and I want to do one at 10, I want to do one at 20. Then my CAX offsets, I just want to do them on the central axis. But if I want to do off-axis measurements, I can certainly do that by just setting up. Maybe I want to do one at 5. I can add that, and you see that populate there. But I decide I want to just do it at central axis today, so I'll unclick that. I can also easily delete that as well, and it's gone. And then you see also scan mode. Even though it's marked complete, you can go in here and kind of do some specific manipulation to suit you as you want different types of scans. You see here you have the mode for either a steps measurement or a continuous measurement. You've got the ability to set up zones in either single or multiple zones. Single zone here, for example, is just a single resolution all the way across the field. Multiple zone, for example, here, if I want to do a lower resolution in the less critical areas like the tail and the flat region, I can set that. But if I want to do more of a higher resolution in the critical area, say the shoulder and the penumbra region, I can set that to a higher resolution. So in this case, 2 millimeter steps here in the tail and the flat, but 1 millimeter steps in the penumbra region. So gives you the ability to kind of set those up accordingly. You can change those percentage of the zones too to make them larger or smaller. Same with depths. You have the ability to either choose or step or continuous here. Here's that force point at Dmax I mentioned, so I can actually force that actual point there if I want to. Number of zones, either single or multiple. If I want to do a second zone and have a higher resolution in the Dmax region, I can do that. And you can choose to do your direction either up or down for your scans as well for depth. Zone 1 start where that's starting, since I only have a single one now, it's going to start at that 0 millimeter, and it's going to be a resolution of 2 millimeters. Obviously in continuous it'll be millimeters per second, and you see if I click continuous it'll switch to the millimeters per second. So I can add that cue. I want to save that, and you'll see it jump here, my demo test set here. So now I'm ready to go to my measure, and I have to connect my hardware first. So first things first, I have a demo 3D. This is nice because since you're not using it on a regular basis, you always have the ability to click into the demo component of it, and then you can kind of use it as if it were connected to a tank. So you can kind of reacquaint yourself. Best case scenario, you're only doing annuals with your 3D tank, so you don't need to revisit it very often, but you just might want to kind of refamiliarize yourself with the software. You can do that. But I can connect it here. I can initialize as well. Select my detectors. I want to use my A28s, which are my scanning 0.125 chambers. I want to turn my electrometer bias on. I want to select maybe 300, and then I want to apply. You can do either, as you saw there, either negative or positive polarity. I'm going to apply that to my field. I'm going to apply that to my reference. I can also zero the electrometer from here. I can set up my position if I want to move it to, say, I don't know, Dmax for this. You'll see here in the upper point here that it shows you where the chamber is at all times. So my central my cross plane and in plane positions, I'm at the center. My depth right now is at 1.5 centimeters. So I've got that. I have the ability to set that as my origin if I want. Obviously, you want to kind of set your origin at water surface, but you can always go to origin. If I do that, it should go back to 0 because that's always your starting point. But you can set your origin at any place. We also have a locate beam center, which is nice. So you can turn the click on that, and you can set your depth, and you can locate the beam center in both the crossplane and the in-plane at any specific depth. You can click on locate beam center, and what it does then, it runs out, finds that 50% line, and will give you the position of where you need to, how you need to adjust that chamber to be in the center of the beam, and you can shift that origin accordingly to those results. Nice little tool there. So, but that's the hardware. Similarly, as you saw here, as I moved things along, these went from gray to blue, and blue meaning that they're ready to go. So we can go ahead and do our measurements now. So if I want to go to my queue, I can load the queue. I can load that queue we just made, that demo test set. Highlight that, click on that. And you'll see I have my 8 scans lined up, kind of breaks them down into 2 different categories differentiated by the colors. So I have my 20 by 20 scans here, my 10 by 10 scans here. And nice thing is, as you move through your scans, when you get to a point where you need to change something, either your energy or maybe your field size, you'll get an audible ding, and that'll tell you, hey, it's time to make some sort of change, either again like energy or field size, etc. But from here, I can zero my electrometer. I can do a normalization. So if I do want to normalize at Dmax, I can go ahead and move to that position, and then I can normalize. I can close that down, and then I can go ahead and start my scan. So beam on and start my scans. Nice thing here, you get a green note showing which is your active scan. You get a percentage of that scan processing as it's being measured. So a status, kind of where things are. Then you have, as it moves along, now I'm doing my profiles. So as I move through those, it'll go ahead and scan those. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into my analyze here, and I'm going to load up some, just load some scans. And I got some demo scans here. I'm gonna do, maybe show you a couple cross planes, show you a depth scan as well. So a couple of scans. I've got my profile. I've got my depth scan showing to be a 15 MeV scan here. So got my demo data. I've got my metrics here. You can show my full width half max. Show my beam center, my beam edge, penumbra width, my center, where I'm seeing the center of that beam, max percentage, minimum percentage, and my flatness and my symmetries. So here you see now I get this note showing me that the next set of scans differ from the current scans. So that's my active scans going on. So I can kind of jump back there and you'll see that these are all complete. Now I need to change my field size down to 10 by 10. I've done that, and now I can start those scans as well. So jumping back to the Analyze page, you'll see here that that basically, we've got a number of different filters here, a couple of different smoothing filters. We've got a boxcar and a Gaussian smoothing. We've got a point edit. So if you've got a wonky point, you can edit that specific point. A couple different normalization. You can normalize to a specific value. You can normalize to center. You can actually center the scan. You can do an average symmetric set as well. You can do a mirror left to right, right to left. You can do a flip of the scan. You can mirror the scan. You can shift the scan accordingly. If for some reason you need to shift it, you can shift it and by a specific distance if needed. Down here, you've got not only your scan information for your specifics, showing you your field size, what depths you were done at, your CAX offsets, where that is all set up, but you also have your different metrics. So you've got, again, like I said, your full width half max, your center of the beam, edges, your flatness, calculated flatness and symmetry. You have a number of different protocols here for the different types of calculations you want to do, your AIPM protocols, your Electa, IEC, and US versions, or Varian calculations, Triple F, AARB, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the Indian protocol for QA in India. So you've got that those capabilities there as well. Also shows you what specific filters have been used. For example, normalized to value, specifically for this one. These are both normalized to 100. But if I want to maybe normalize those two at the center, you see now I added that. And you can always clear those filters as well. So I want to remove that last filter, or you can clear all filters. You have that ability accordingly. Same with depth. So if I want to maybe do a shift of a distance, I want to shift it 3 cm. I can click OK, and then I'm like, I don't know why I did that. I can always get rid of that last filter, and I'm back to my my raw data. You can always go back to your raw data, which is nice. You can always show your raw data as well with this checkbox here. So if I did want to go ahead and, like I said, maybe shift that again. So I've got my shifted, and then I can show my raw data. So there's my raw data showing. So that's kind of what the difference is, and that's the same for all your filters. And so I want to maybe unclick my raw data, but I also want to remove that last filter. You can do that. You have your dose convert here. So as you can see here, this setup right now is an ion curve. If I want to do a dose conversion, I can go ahead and do that here. Click on that. It knows your chamber diameter, and now you can see I click on that and it changes it actually to a dose. So if you want to do your PDDs or your TPR exports, you can convert those to dose very easily. And speaking of export, we have a number of different export types. As I mentioned, Varian Eclipse, Electa Monaco, Electa's QA platform, Aqua, Philips Pinnacle, Rayplan, CyberKnife. Also have a couple of different ones here. DoseView. So if you have, you can export it in DoseView format. So if you have the DoseView software on another PC, you can export that and bring that into other PCs for analysis. Typical CSV, if you want to view the data in a tabular format on a spreadsheet in Excel, you can do that. And your PDD and TPR exports as well for your PDD and TPR tables. Also have the ability to import scans. Not only can you import DoseView scans from other software, like I just mentioned, we also have the ability to import legacy scans. So if you have an older IBA or PTW water phantom, you can import scans from those and analyze them and compare them within our software, which is kind of a nice feature as well. Reports will do a export of PDD. I'm sorry, of CSV type report, so you can go ahead and export that and again analyze it in tabular format in Excel. That kind of covers things. One other thing we have is the ability in our new version coming up. It's in 3.1 when that's released. We'll have the ability to actually have user selected reference scans. So you can actually set a reference scan, which actually kind of becomes a baseline of types of sort. So you can set those reference scan, and then you can compare more recent scans back to those reference scans for not only a direct comparison and overlay, but also will give you the ability to kind of see the metrics difference of the reference scan compared to the active scan. And then also we'll have a gamma analysis to do a gamma comparison. And I'll kind of show you that when I jump back into the PowerPoint as we summarize the software. But you just kind of jump back to the measure page. You'll have the ability to show those reference scans here as well. So if you have reference scans set for these specific parameters for scans, you can do that also. But you can see now that these all 8 scans are complete. If I went back over to analyze, I wanted to add scans. Those final 8 scans that I did today here, you can see, and I can add those if I wanted to the display. So, but that's kind of a quick overview. Another one last thing, you have the ability here to do magnification and checking in on areas. If I want to check in on a specific region of a scan and zoom in on that, I can do that either with a click and hold, or I can also just click my zoom in and it kind of will zoom in a different percentage there. I can always, whoops, go back home. And like I said, if I wanted to kind of look at that, then I can click and drag as well. So if I want to kind of zoom it in, but I wanted to see things comparatively, and this comes in nice and handy when you're doing those reference scans as well. But you can also do check your tags on each point, or you can do multiple tags. So if I'm looking at multiple scans, I can do that as well. And I'll just go back home on those. But like I said, I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview today of the software, and I think I did that. But let me just jump kind of quick back to our PowerPoint, and then we can kind of give you a quick summary. So as I mentioned, everything is left to right, top to bottom navigation. There's a quick queue setup for 1D scanning and 3D scanning. With something I didn't mention was a copy and editing function. So you can set up a scan queue, say at 6 MB. You can copy that. You'll get a copy in the list. You can then change maybe the energies to 10 MB. So you only have to set that up once, but you can do the same set of scans with under 10 MB and not have to reinvent the wheel and do the whole scan again, the scan queue again. You can just copy and edit that component. Like I said, there's no hidden features. Everything is right there for you at your fingertips. They have the ability to do step or continuous scanning with the multiple zones or single zones. Full export of PDD tables as well as TPR tables. The import functionality for the legacy scan data. So again, if you have an IBA or PDW and you want to change over to our system, you'll still be able to analyze that data or compare that data going forward. And very straightforward and comprehensive post-scan processing and metrics. Very easy system to use. But as I mentioned, we're working on version 3.1, which has some of the additional scan comparison capabilities, which includes a direct comparison back to a user-selected set of reference scans, as well as a 1D gamma analysis. So for example, here you can see the gamma analysis for this particular set here. You have the ability to change your conditions here for your dose tolerances and your distance to agreement from 1 to 3 3% or 1 to 3 millimeters. And nice thing too is if you look down here at the metrics table, you'll see these couple here. They have the reference data according to those reference scans. So the bold listing here on the top of those scan data is the actual active scan, and then it's comparing it to the non-bolded reference scan. So you have your active scan and your reference scan data here, so you can compare those, how those may have changed over time comparatively to each other. And in addition to the scan comparison capabilities, we've also got the treatment planning system and TPR table export now to CyberKnife Precision treatment planning system. But that's kind of it. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview today of the software and kind of show you everything I showed you on the 3D side kind of is applicable to the 1D side as well for your depth measurements. You know, kind of the scan comparison, the scan queue setup as well. Your analysis tools are all very similar for the 1D side and the 3D side. So, like I said, it's just a quick overview. If you want to see the software a little more in depth, feel free to contact us at either sales@standardimaging.com, and that will be directed to your specific representative, and they can get in touch with me, and we can set some an actual webinar up individually with you or your group. Or you can email me, hpeterson at standardimaging.com. Again, my name is Hugh Peterson. So if you have any specific questions on what you saw today, let me know. And also, one last thing, if you're going to Astro this year in Chicago coming up in a couple weeks, feel free to visit our booth. Other than that, thank you very much for your time today. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know.